But I feel like I'm a grown ass man now, so it's damn near like it's like going to a family reunion.
Yeah, with a bunch of people you don't really know.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, this is I'm gonna give you a story of mine. Like, so my daddy was he was a hustler in New York, man. You know what I mean? He was 50 years older than me when my mama had me. My daddy was 50 years old when I was born. My mama was 22. So my mama hot ass was goddamn. She done ran off to New York with a 48, 49-year-old man at 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? Fucked around with 19, 20 years old. Fucked around and had me. And so now it's her as a 22-year-old, you know, she was going to Georgia State, you know what I'm saying? She dropped out of that to go fuck with my daddy.
So was you born in New York?
I was born down here. But she took me up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so my daddy from Atlanta, but moved to New York.
Okay.
All right, so he from Fair Street, over there behind Washington High.
Yeah.
All right, so he had, you know, his brothers, he had a big family. Like 4 brothers and 3 sisters, some shit like that. So his brother ran the shit from running numbers to, you know, all the blow and all that other shit. But they were sophisticated. Or at least my pops, he told me I moved out of Atlanta because I was selling weed at a warehouse. Or at least he didn't tell me he was selling weed, but he told me he got locked up at a warehouse. And my sister Precious, she told me the real story. So he was selling weed and shit at a warehouse.
Yeah, I got the same daddy.
Yeah. Man, I'm the only one came through my mama. My mama ain't got no more children but me.
Oh, you the only child?
Only child on my mama's side.
That's her. That's his daughter too.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So my daddy had plenty of children before he met my mama.
Right.
My sister Precious was actually older than my mama.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, hell yeah. My sister Precious was older than my mama. My mama used to hang out and shit. You know what I'm saying? So my daddy, man, my daddy was hell, bro. So, so my sister Precious told me that he was working at a warehouse and he was selling weed or whatever, and goddamn, a motherfucker had done told on him while he was selling some weed at the warehouse. He ended up having to, you know, go to jail. I think it's about 6 months he did. And when he got out of jail, nigga took off and moved to New York. Cause his brother, Head and Pete was up there in New York. So they went up to New York and pretty much put it down in the era of, you know, heroin. When motherfuckers were coming back from the war, hooked on heroin and shit. So they went up there with that shit.
Right.
And he amassed a small fortune. My daddy had $1 million or $2 million. And he was just kind of like, from what I know of him and how people dealt with him and how, you know, he was the man who had it. He was the motherfucker like, man, this nigga got it. I'm finna go ask him what he think about this situation because he know how to deal with money. He know how to think his way through things. And he was just kind of like a consigliere, you know what I'm saying? Like a mafia motherfucker. The motherfucker come to and say, what you think? Help me with this. You know, he was that kind of nigga.
Yeah.
Now, my mama, him and the first memory, the first memory I remember in life is my mama untying her, pulling tape off her mouth from us being robbed by a motherfucker who came to my daddy's apartment, who I later found out that my other sister had, who's also older than my mama, my other sister, it was her boyfriend, she brought him over there, so then he doubled back. He doubled back when nobody in the house with me and my mama. So he come in.
Where y'all, this the Atlanta?
Nah, this is New York. Yeah.
Where y'all staying at in New York?
94th and Columbus. The 94th and Columbus, Columbus Towers.
What that is?
Man, this shit's a
fire.
Yeah.
Manhattan?
Yeah, Manhattan.
Oh, so y'all staying in some good shit.
Yeah. He owned property in Harlem. He owned a building. Him and his brother Pete owned a building in Harlem. Yeah. And like, you know, candy stores and all kinds of property in Harlem. He lived in the Upper West Side. You know what I'm saying? So he come in, got down with the pistol or whatever. Separate. I ain't see the pistol, to be honest with you. I never saw him with a gun. My mama told me he had a gun. He showed it to her, made sure he hid it from me. I wasn't but 2 years old, she said.
Right.
So goddamn, he separate us, take her in the room, sit me down in front of the TV, put some cartoons on. And him and her in there back and forth. He asking her where the money at and all this old type shit. And but the motherfucker was nice as fuck to me, made me cereal, took me to the bathroom when I had to go to the bathroom. Like I couldn't tell we were being robbed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that I would have known the difference anyway. But So he left. I remember him leaving. And when he left, I thought it was like one of my daddy friends who just happened to have been coming back. So when he left, he yelled out, the key on the zebra, the picture of the zebra. And you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, it was a wall in the living room. It was a white wall and it had different pictures. You know, it was a picture of a zebra, it was a picture of some cars. It was just like different like art type pictures, right? And the zebra was the top picture. So I go in there with my mama and she handcuffed to a big ass recliner chair, tape on her mouth, and her feet were tied up or whatever. Well, they might not have been tied. I don't remember. So I would go up to her and I pull the tape off her mouth and I say, why he tape your mouth up, mama? He think you talk too much? And she said, boy, help me get in here. You know what I'm saying? So I go in there to the room with her and I couldn't reach the zebra picture. So she kind of like banged the chair up against the wall. And when the key fell, I grabbed it and loosened her up. Okay. My daddy's brothers and sisters and shit put in his head that she had something to do with that.
Your mama?
Yeah. Like thinking like, man, she set you up, bro. She set you up. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So that's when I moved back to Atlanta. My mom and my dad
get the money?
up. Yeah, he got the money. Yeah, he got the money. He left out of there with some hundreds of thousands. He got the money. All right, so we moved back to Atlanta. Now, the reason I know my mama ain't had shit to do with it, because I know when we came back to Atlanta, we ain't had shit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
we would have had some shit. It would have been, you know what I mean? It would have been something to show for it.
Oh, God.
So I know she ain't had nothing to do with that. I ain't find this shit out until I was older and grown. But I never fucked with my daddy's brothers and sisters. Never. Didn't know why. Never fucked with them. I didn't know why I didn't fuck with them. But I always just felt bad energy from them. You know, I fucked with my daddy, but when it come to his brothers and sisters, I just always felt like they looked, because I was the first boy. He had a bunch of girls until me.
Right.
So I guess they saw me as a threat, like, isn't it probably gonna leave him all the motherfucking money and probably gonna, you know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I just felt a weird energy from them all the time. I remember being 15 years old, I started selling dope and moving around in the streets and shit, and goddamn, I got fucked around, I got locked up, went to juvenile and shit. My daddy found out about it. And my dad was the type of nigga, he always consult with people. He always ask people like, what do you think about this situation? So he asked his goddamn brothers and sisters, really it was his sister Florence. She dead now, but his sister Florence, bro, she was real, I think I'm better than everybody. I'm uppity and I don't have, you know what I mean? I don't understand what other black people going through,
right?
Because I'm out of it, so I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Man, this lady told, and I ain't never spent the night at Florence's house. I ain't never had no relationship. We ain't never had no kind of interaction at all. But I was bad as hell. So he asked her, and she say, you should send him to boarding school. You should send him away to boarding school. You should send him to military school. That what he said. And he come to me with that shit. He say, man, I'm sending you to military school. Cause that what everybody say you need. I say, huh? You sending me where? I say, whoa. You think I'm finna leave my mama in these Section 8 apartment while I go away to military school, and you think, nah, bro, I ain't going for that. He said, well, I'm gonna cut you off. I say, nigga, I'm cut off. And that's it. And that was my plug, to be honest with you, man. That really like, I used to go to New York every summer and get fresh for school, come back, and have like bubble coats and, you know, just fresh shit that I wasn't able, my mama was never able to get me that when nobody else, you know, had no goddamn real ability to do that but him. So I knew the sacrifice that I was making when I said, well, fuck it then, cut me out. So that's what he did. And I remember my uncles, one of my uncles was in prison at the time. Quint was in prison. Man was still moving around, man, back and forth from here to New Jersey, man, doing whatever the fuck he was doing. And my mama telling me, hey.
So Quentin Man, that's your mama, brother.
Quentin Man and my mama's brothers. Right. Yeah. And they kind of who told me early on, like, how my daddy was.
Right.
They were like, man, look, when we couldn't get no work nowhere else, your daddy got up 5 bricks. He sent them in fish from New York City.
Yeah.
He's the real deal now.
Yeah.
Don't get it fucked up. Don't think now. He done got old now, and he kicking it with you because you his son. But nigga, let me tell you something. Your dad is serious.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, fuck that nigga, man. You know what I mean? And they were telling me, hey, man, listen. He getting old. Because at the time we were going through this, he was 65. I was 15. He was 65.
Right. I was just thinking that on God.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, he getting old. Goddamn, you don't know how much more time you gonna have with him. The worst thing you could do, cause we didn't talk for like 3 years, bro. They were like, the worst thing you could do is let him die. Or not, they ain't never say let him die. The worst thing you could do is have something happen and you don't have a chance to, you don't take advantage of the chance to communicate. And I was like, shit, that sounds like some shit he need to be thinking about too. Shit. He know he finna die. If he finna die, he know it.
Yeah.
He need to be trying to write out, you know what I mean? I just had that kind of mentality. And the one thing, but before we fell out, I wanted to be a rapper and I knew that shit. And I, at first my Uncle Quint said, you learn everything it is about, about the music shit, about the rap shit, and I'm gonna put all the money behind you. Them niggas was selling dope, having their way. But that nigga got sent to prison. So now I'm still learning, but I ain't got nobody who got that push, who gonna put that money behind me to send me where I need to go. So my daddy, man, he said, man, what you need to do to get, you know what I mean? And I said, man, I need to get in the studio. So then I had to figure out how to get in the studio, what studio was. And my daddy was the motherfucking one who gave me, he gave me, I think, maybe $350, something like that, to get in the studio. So I went in there and recorded me a little demo and shit. Shit didn't goddamn get me nowhere. But he was supportive, even though he like, man, you need to just go to school, get you a job, man. You know what I mean? But he still gave me the money. And before he died, bro, he caught Alzheimer's, had to move back to Atlanta. This was around the time I was making I'm Serious at the time. So I was making I'm Serious at the time. About 2000, 99, 2000, around in that time. And he was living with my sister Precious. She was taking care of him. And his friend, my daddy was the kind of motherfucker, he don't give a fuck how big you is. If he call your friend, nigga, Muhammad Ali could walk in that motherfucker. If he call his friend, say, hey man, motherfucker be boxing name Muhammad Ali. Hey man, my friend say, he don't know you, man. Then you ain't nobody. If his people don't know you, you ain't no motherfucking body.
Yeah.
So I remember, right, me going to my sister Precious' house, seeing my dad, and he always knew who I was, you know what I mean? And I remember the look on his face when my album, when I'm Serious, dropped, right? And he say, his best friend name was RB. And he say, RB say you made it. RB say he say, man, I'm proud of you. You did it. You did it. And that shit made me feel so good. You know what I mean? That he died knowing that the shit I set out to do, even though he thought that shit wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
I made that shit happen.
RB still alive?
Nah, RB died too, man. Them niggas were old, bro. Nigga were old, my man. We talking about nigga, man. My daddy moved to New York in the 50s, in 1950.
Damn.
When he was 20. You dig what I'm saying? He moved up there and made a way for himself.
So he was born in the 30s?
He was born in 1930.
Damn.
That's when my daddy was born. You dig what I'm saying?
My daddy was born in the 70s.
Yeah, man. My daddy was born in 1930. But I say that to say, bro.
So how soon did he die after I'm Serious drop?
Shit, the next year. I'm Serious drop October 2001. My daddy died in 2002.
So he got
Within
to see
6,
it, but
7
he
months,
didn't get
he
to
got
see
to
it.
see it. But and then he ain't have he knew me. Cause I'm the only boy.
Oh, you still the only boy?
Well, actually, no. I'm the oldest boy. Now I got my brother Bryce. I'm like 11 years older than him. You know what I mean? So
how long you known Bryce?
Man, nah, I've been there with Bryce since he was born.
Okay,
like every time I went to New York for the summer, it was me and Bryce.
Right.
That's been my partner.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always fuck with him. I fuck with him. My daddy's younger children, I always fuck with them a lot more. You know what I mean? Like my sister Tisha, my brother Bryce. We had another sister, but we found out that one really our sister, so it ain't shit there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Tisha, Bryce, then of course I fuck with my daddy's oldest daughter, Velma. She was actually my manager. She was the first person. Her and her husband kind of took me under their wing, put me in the studio, and, you know, started showing me like how to do the music shit. It didn't work, but I still fuck with them. They let me live in their house and shit, you know what I mean? Then my sister Precious she used to let me come spend the night at her house. Like Precious and Felicia and Velma were the only motherfucker who let me spend the night at their house. I was bad as a motherfucker. Wouldn't nobody even let me come around their kids.
Yeah.
I would have kind of don't be mixing in with little bad ass Tip. That little bad ass Tip, man.
He a bad influence.
Exactly.
That's how I was. Like a bad apple.
Nobody wanted their children to hang around me. You know what? You know what the funny part is? Same motherfuckers was calling me, hey, you think you could get with my son because he... No, nigga! You ain't want him hanging around me then.
Oh, God.
What the fuck I'm hanging around him now for?
God.